All right, it's Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. You know what that means. It's time for Talking Nerdy. As always, I'm Scott. With me is my life mate, Joe.
Yes, sir. How you
Live
doing,
from
buddy?
Maryland. Welcome to episode 5. We're
Five
calling this
already?
one
Wow.
5 already. Yeah. We're
Already.
calling this one Christmas Magic.
Hmm.
I still don't know what that means, but you'll kind of get
Yeah,
that
I'm
as
worried.
we move forward. So welcome to another episode. Before we get things kicked off, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. For those of you that are new to the pod, please make sure you're hitting subscribe, hit the like button. Show us some love. Let us know that you're checking us out. If you're going back and rewatching these, they are getting better. I went back and I was watching some of the old ones over the weekend with my buddy Rick, and we're definitely getting the hang of this. I think we're getting into our rhythm, Joe.
I probably should, since I'm on one of these fucking things every day anymore. So I should be getting this down pretty pat, but it's been fun, man. I'm having a good time.
Look, it's like you're living in your podcast studio.
Yeah.
It literally is what it is. By the way, as you can see, I started to get some pictures up.
Yeah, you got two.
Well, and plus I also have a bookshelf, and then there's a couple of more in front of me. I know, like it's coming together. Look, it's coming together slowly, but we'll get there. So yeah, we're about what are we, 12 days from Christmas as we record. So we're going to kind of hit you with a bit of a Christmas themed episode. Talk a little bit about Joe and I went to go see Violent Night last weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Maybe do our top 5. Each of us do our top 5 of our favorite Christmas or Christmas adjacent movies to spark a little bit of debate, and talk a little bit about the goings on in WWE. Some signings, some people leaving, some things that are coming up, some rumors that we're hearing. And then, as always, we're going to leave the end of the show for Joe and Loose Cannon, a segment that has become a favorite of our viewers. So Joe, what's been going on since we last met, my brother?
Yeah, I've been toy hunting, finding some good shit out there. First, I got to thank all the support I have, people watching my videos, man. Watching my shorts, watching my videos, checking me out on this pod and that effing figures. I appreciate everybody who stops by. Just been hanging out and toy hunting and doing pods for the last 3 days in a row. Sunday we did that effing figures with one of my favorite toy hunters, What's Poppin'. That was so much fun. The hour went by so fast. It almost felt like 5 minutes. He's a really good dude, and he gave us the time, and I appreciate that. That was a good time. Last night with Dre on his podcast, on his live, we did a Christmas special, so that was fun. It was me, T3, Dave Dimensions, and Dre. We had a good time on that, talking about Christmas movies, things like that. And then tonight I'm here with you, man. So it's been busy, but it's been fun, and I'm ready. Let's talk some wrestling. Let's talk some of that movie we saw the other day, which I actually really liked.
Violent Night. Look, we were talking about this at the end of the last show, that we were kind of kicking around the idea to go see it, and kind of came together really quickly. We found out it was playing right near where we both live. So, we gathered up our buddy Rick, and we went over to see the movie.
We gathered
or MVG, as I call him. He's my most valuable gimp.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Bring out the gimp.
Yeah.
He's sleeping. Well, why don't you wake him up then?
Yeah.
For those of you who like Pulp Fiction. So, look, I think the best way to describe this is literally Santa Claus meets Die Hard. Does
Yeah,
that-
you know what I looked at it as a new age Home Alone, where it takes place in a house and around a house, and it
Mhm.
wasn't so much a kid. Like a kid did do some booby traps and shit in the movie, um, but just the way Santa went around and just fucked everybody up, man. It was great, and yeah, it just reminded me of like a new age Home Alone, and I enjoyed every minute of it, especially the side commentary where you told Rick, I hope I hate that it came up like this. That there's no Santa, so that was funny as shit. So
Yeah,
we're
let me
sitting there laughing our asses off, and the other 15 people in there are like, "What the fuck
what
are
is
you
wrong
laughing
with
at?" Yeah,
So, first of all, T3, welcome. Thanks for
T3
checking in.
brother, what's up, brother?
Um, yeah, let me give you a little bit of context. So Rick has been one of my closest friends for, I'm going to say, almost 30 years now, right? Met him my senior year of high school when I was working in movie theaters. So I live to torment Rick at any given opportunity, as you do with your best friends. Joe and I torment each other all the time. So about midway through the movie, there's a part where one of the adult characters turns to his daughter and goes, "Well, honey, there is no Santa Claus. I don't believe." So, without missing a beat, I turn to Rick and I go, "Oh my God, dude, are you all right?" What do you mean? I said, "Are you all right finding out there's no Santa Claus this way?" At that exact moment, all you heard was Joe laughing like he was Muttley
Yeah,
on,
man,
the Saturday morning cartoons. He
it
couldn't
was so
breathe.
funny. It was so, and then you started,
And then when he
and
starts, I start.
these people are probably like, "What the fuck are they laughing at?" But it was so
Oh,
funny because, like, I mean,
it was
I just looked
deliberate.
at Rick's face, and he's like, "What the fuck? There's no
It
Santa?
was
Come
that
on,
kind
man!
of
Don't tell
that
me
half.
that." Like,
There's a look that Rick gives when I call it the Rick Jenkins look, kind of the what the fuck. And that was kind of the look he gives. Shut up, man.
yeah,
Um, you're an asshole is usually what he follows with, but I digress. I mean, look, the cast was great. David Harbour is Santa Claus. You know him as Hopper in Stranger Things. Beverly D'Angelo, who look, is everybody's favorite mom in Christmas Vacation. Um, you know, they were unbelievably funny in this movie. I
yeah.
mean, the tie-in to like Joe said, the tie-in to Home Alone was absolutely fucking great.
Mhm.
It was a little more violent Home Alone, if
Oh
you
yeah,
ask
and
me.
that's probably why I liked it.
Yeah, probably. But definitely was one of those things where you don't go into it expecting a whole lot, but when we were walking out, Joe and I were talking after the movie was over, and literally it was like that had to be like one of the best new Christmas movies I've seen in probably 10 years since maybe Elf came out.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, sure.
it hit on so many levels, and there was a nice tie-in to like Viking lore, which was kind of cool. Um, so it really, to me, it hit on all things. I mean, definitely two enthusiastic thumbs up. If you get a chance, look, this weekend, next weekend, before Christmas, go see this movie.
Yeah,
You will
definitely.
not be disappointed.
No, no. You'll laugh, you'll cringe, you'll screw with your friends who still believe in Santa Claus. You'll do it all, man. It's just a good time all around.
There's definitely a few moments where you're like, "Oh shit!" No
Yeah,
spoilers. T3, no spoilers.
yeah. We don't want to
We're not giving anything away. We're just enthusiastically endorsing this movie.
Mhm.
Um, that I didn't have high expectations going in. I really didn't. But the whole thing, just how Santa ends up in the house, how he gets stuck there. I mean, it very well done.
Yeah, it
Very,
was well done for sure. Definitely good movie, man. I definitely recommend it. It was a good time.
No, without a doubt.
You
So
see,
I guess,
anytime Rick's there, we have a good time. So we just got to bring Rick everywhere. No
well,
matter.
and I usually do.
That's
So,
true.
yeah, that's my road dog.
Mm-hmm.
He goes everywhere.
He's our meal ticket. He's our meal ticket to the front of the line. He's our meal ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So Beastie, what we're talking about is the movie Violent Night, starring David Harbour and Beverly D'Angelo. It's kind of like Santa Claus meets Die Hard. Um, we were leading off with that. Joe and I went and saw it last Friday, just on a goof because we saw the commercials and we were laughing about it to each other, and we thought, why not?
Yeah.
Friday night, none of us had anything to do because look, let's be honest, we have no lives. Our lives Joe's life revolves around toys and podcasts, and mine is pretty much podcasts.
Yeah.
So
True
I
story.
guess what that leads me into
Brother
is
up.
Dre, welcome, brother. So what that leads me into, and it was something Joe and I were kind of talking about offline, I wanted to bring it onto the pod, right? Is top 5 Christmas or Christmas adjacent, for those of you that are purists, top 5 Christmas or Christmas adjacent films for this time of year.
Yes. I think we should do this rotate. So we'll start at 5. You
Start
go
at
5. I'll go first. I'll go 5. You go 4. I go 4. Yada, yada, yada. Let's do that.
That's fair. All right. So you want me to start?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. Number 5 for me, Gremlins. Absolutely. I saw this movie when I was a kid and I loved every last bit of it. Look, that movie is still a classic to this day. It is a Christmas movie. I don't care what anybody says. Gizmo was a Christmas gift. So it is absolutely 100% a full-on Christmas movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's on my list too. I love the Gremlins. My number 5 would probably have to be, I would just say Die Hard is number 5.
All right.
I know it should be further up the list, but it's actually not for me. Die Hard is always a good movie. It brings back a lot of memories. I think that's going to be number 5 for me.
All right. That was definitely on my list. It was a little higher, but it was on my list. So I'll adjust accordingly. Number 4. Look, since Die Hard was originally going to be in like my 4 or 3 slot, I'm going to put Elf in here. And here's why. Will Ferrell as an adult elf. Come on, dude. What is not to love in that? And there are so many quotable moments in that movie. You really, truly just, whenever it's on, you stop and you watch.
Yeah. Elf's on my list too. That's probably going to be my number 4 also because I have 3 others that I really want higher. So, Elf's definitely good. Anytime Will Ferrell, you can't not have him on there. So,
yeah, no. And look, for me, 3 would be Die Hard, where yours is a little lower. I mean, look, don't care. It's a Christmas movie. Christmas does not begin until Hans Gruber falls off Nakatomi Plaza.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
that brings me to number 3, Gremlins, because I have 2 other ones that I think you're going to absolutely love. But Gremlins, number 3 for me.
All right. So number 2 for me is going to be A Christmas Story. It is a tradition in this house that
I fucking hate that
Christmas Eve, 100%, we watch 24 Hours of A Christmas Story, have it on the whole time. Even if we're just doing other things, it runs 24 hours on TV in this house.
What's up, EC? Thanks for joining, brother.
Full house tonight.
I'm at number 2.
Yep.
Some people may argue this, but this is a Christmas movie. The Shining.
Oh, such a good one. I agree.
It's a Christmas movie. Now,
100%.
it's more of a Christmas story that I enjoy. This is what I'll be watching Christmas morning. But The Shining, Jack Nicholson, red rum, the whole deal, man. Great movie.
Here's Johnny. I
Here's
mean, so many great quotes out
Can't
of
Be
that.
Shining is definitely a Christmas movie.
Oh, 100%, dude. 100%. That's a great pick.
Mm-hmm.
Such a solid pick. Well done. For me, number one, all time, most quoted movie in my house this time of year, Christmas Vacation.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely in my top 10.
Christmas Vacation. I mean, look, shitter's full. Why is the carpet wet, Todd?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
these are all like, I don't trust anyone that can't quote at least 10 lines out of Christmas Vacation at the holidays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. And that was your number one.
That was my number one.
So my number one is, like I was saying last night on Dre's show. Me and my father, he always every Christmas, shit, every St. Patty's Day, summertime, whatever, he always liked to put on the 1951 Scrooge: A Christmas Carol.
That's a good one.
It's a classic. I love it. Um, if for nothing else, I love sitting there with my father and just watching it. And it brings back so many memories for me, awesome memories from my childhood. And we're going to watch it this year. We watch it every year. So we're going to watch that on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, whatever. And that's my number one. It always has been, just because it's just embedded in my head as, you know, me and him, just so many memories from me and him watching it. And I hope they continue for years to come. So that's my number.
Absolutely. And look, we're getting some great ones in the comments. Like, look, and there's some great ones here. Home Alone, Jingle All the Way. For me, Home Alone is a great Christmas movie. But in the last several years, with like the 25 Days of Freeform, which is on constantly in my house, like legitimately, it just lost a little bit of its luster. I also was working in a movie theater when that movie came out. So I remember what it was like at the Christiana Mall in Newark, Delaware, working at the movie theater, 5 screens, and all 5 had Home Alone because they were all sold out.
Yeah.
It was unbelievably wild at that point in those years.
So you're saying because they play it too much, you're tired of it?
It's just not something, like I said, to me, it's lost a lot of the luster. Like,
I was going to say, you watch A Christmas Story. That's one of your top 5, and they play the 24 hours or more of that.
But I only watch it on the 24 hours. Now, I did break that last weekend. I won't lie. I actually did the double feature. I watched Christmas Story, right? But then I watched the sequel that just came out on HBO Max, A Christmas Story Christmas. So for those of you that aren't aware, they filmed, HBO Max put out a sequel, a legitimate sequel, not that bastard one that came out with Charles Grodin years ago that very few people acknowledge. But this is an actual, like, original cast is back. Ralphie is an adult with his own kids come back, and it's Christmas Story is back, baby. Look, I watched it. And, look, the original cast is all back except for a couple of exceptions for obvious reasons. But the way that they did the story, really clever. And easy, you're right. In a lot of ways, it is a remake. But, look, also, I think it's a love letter to the first one. And here's why. Is like, it really paid homage to what that magic in the first one was. And it was fun. BC said it right. It's fun. Completely fun. A lot of the gags, look, it rehashed some things, but there were a lot of like interesting, like, oh, I didn't expect that kind of moments. And I don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't seen it yet. But look, if you're a fan of A Christmas Story, it's a nice callback. It really is. It really totally is something that you can go back and watch. And would it be something I'd watch for 24 hours straight? Hell no. I mean, it doesn't have the charm of the first one, and I know that you hate the first one, Joe, but I know, but for me, it become tradition, so
yeah, I mean, tradition, like me and the Christmas Carol. That's fine.
Exactly.
I just don't think anything needs to be on 24 hours straight. I really don't. I think if you watch anything 24 hours straight, you're going to be so sick of it. I don't know why they do that. I mean, it's just more special. Do you remember when The Wizard of Oz was on once a year?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it
it was
was
on in like
special.
March or April when we were kids.
Yeah, it felt special. It came around Easter time or St. Patty's Day time.
Right.
It was special. If you put that on every like month or you put that on too much, it loses its luster.
Uh-huh.
I think that's what happened with me and that and no, I wouldn't get sick of Terrifier 2 24 hours. That's the exception to the rule. I wouldn't get sick of any horror movie 24. No, seriously, I probably would not want to watch that either 24 hours in a row. No, nothing.
I think part of the thing with the 24 hours though is that you're doing other things. Like it's on in the background.
I'm not.
Like for me,
I'm going out. I'm not doing nothing.
yeah, like for me, like I'm not sitting in front of the TV for 24 hours. You know, we're going to my brother's house for breakfast and doing gifts with my niece. You know, I'm cooking, I'm doing other things, and then you know, but it's always on. You know, it's just something that, like I said, it's tradition. You just don't expect anything else. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know what's going to happen with, like, you know, the NFL is on Christmas Eve, so that's going to totally blow plans out of the water that day.
Not only is the NFL on, but the 12-1 Philadelphia Eagles are on, aren't they? On Christmas Eve?
Yes, against the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowgirls get their asses whooped on Christmas Eve. That's my present.
Yeah, that would be the perfect gift.
I agree. Yeah, they don't need to play the same 124 hours. I mean, mix it up. You could put all the movies we named in the chat and ourselves on that whole day, and it would be so much better than having the same movie on 24 hours. I just don't know what the justification of that is. I don't know.
Well, look, they own the right to it.
A day and age where you can put it on when you want to. So why clog up TBS? You know, on whatever it is, TNT, whatever it is these days.
Well, look, it's either that or we have to watch 2 hours of AEW.
I'd rather mix it up and watch some damn AEW than watch the same movie over and over.
First of all, how dare you?
You may be changing your tune after you hear my rant about what I heard today. I'm not happy about it, but we'll save that for later.
We'll save that for later. But
we are going to
kind of go back earlier. You know, look, the other one that I want to see is the mean one, the Grinch.
Obvious reasons.
Story. Yes. I struck a nerve with Dre about AEW. I know you love them, buddy, but we've had this discussion.
Yeah.
And we'll get into wrestling in a little bit, but you know, look, the mean one is that Grinch style, that modernization of the Grinch story where he's a serial killer, which look, I'm all about. I was looking to go try to see it maybe this weekend. I haven't found a theater close enough yet, but I'm still looking. So if I do, we'll report back. Not to worry. There's some fun stuff coming. But you know, it's definitely one that's on my list. You know, the guy that plays Art the Clown and Terrifier plays the Grinch. So obviously Joe and I are going to be all over that like white on rice.
For sure.
So I guess, you know, we move a little bit into wrestling talk. If you want to do that now, or do you want to wait? You might have to do loose cannon a little early.
We can do it now. I mean, yeah, it just might just flow into the loose cannon, but that's fine. We have an announcement at the end anyway on a guest we got coming, so we'll flop it, and that's fine. Yeah, let's do that.
Right. So wrestling. So we're going to talk a little bit about wrestling. A lot of things going on, WWE land and in AEW land and New Japan land. So let's kick it off with what we know with WWE. A lot going on. You know, look, last weekend was the NXT premium event. I don't remember what the name of it was. They have a different name for everything now. Yeah,
but Deadline.
That's what it was, right? So I don't know if you watched it yet, um, but I did watch it, and it was actually pretty good.
That's what I
Uh,
heard. I
I,
have heard.
I really enjoyed it. I didn't know what to think about with the Iron Man match, but I like the pacing,
Mhm.
and it really kind of remind me like of like the Mad Scramble type matches they had in the '80s, where
Mhm.
most number of pinfalls and or most number of decisions, but it usually was just two people. But this was like five, so it was
Yeah,
a lot more action.
I heard it was pretty good with the penalty boxes and whatnot.
Yeah,
They needed something new and fresh since the main roster took War Games away and put it on the main roster. They needed something fresh for NXT, and hopefully this is the beginning of getting better. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
well,
I'm
look,
kind of
what
getting
I'm really curious about tonight when NXT airs tonight, right after our show, so 8 o'clock, head over to USA and follow along. But what I found interesting is they put the tag belts on New Day.
yeah. I'm not sure what that's all about. I mean, that's one of the only real established tag teams on the main roster. I mean, every boss is pretty much thrown together for the most part. A lot of teams, and you got one solid team that's actually a team, and you put them on NXT. I don't know what they're doing with that. Maybe they just wanted to give them the belt so they can have them all, and
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, but if you
I
look
don't
at it,
even know if they know what they're doing at this point. I really don't.
there's no tag teams left. I mean, the Creed brothers are hurt. That other country tag team they're talking about bringing up, I Brooks,
Yeah,
whatever, and the other
yeah.
guy.
I don't think they're anywhere near being
No.
the manager, the valet. You could bring her up anytime you want, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, as far as teams, even pretty deadly, I just
They're
I don't
terrible.
think any of those
They're
teams are ready for the main roster. I just think this going to be it's, it's not going to help things.
Well,
I
this
don't
is
know.
like when they
I
had
don't
Dolph
know what's
Ziggler.
helping right now. I don't really know. It's pretty
Well, this
bad right now.
well, this is like when they had Dolph Ziggler win the title and had to have Braun or Braun Breaker go back and win it and chase a bit. Like, I mean, I get that, most of the money is in the chase, as Jim Cornette likes to say.
Mhm.
So, I get it. I don't know. I thought if that was the one thing that kind of felt forced. But I do agree with Dre's point. I think they are trying to stack the card for when they go back out on the road and they go to Charlotte in February. So, I think that I think it makes some sense. Um, especially that being on the road to WrestleMania. And look, at the same time, New Day wasn't getting anything after they lost that last tag title match to the Usos. What were they going to do now? They're in the same feud.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that going on. I mean, look at Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins and Austin Theory. I mean, how many times can you interchange those three having matches? How many times can you do triple threats? I'm so sick of looking at all three of those guys now. Like they're absolutely ruining Seth Rollins right now because I'm so sick of seeing him fight the same people. It's just I don't know. There's not
Well,
one portion. There's not one portion of Raw that I can actually say stands out besides the 10 seconds that Alexa Bliss had Bianca Belair in, the
Sister Abigail.
Sister Abigail. Thanks. And
Yeah.
then I think Oscar without the paint. I mean, and you're look what I'm saying. I mean, a wrestler without paint is a big deal because I know what's coming. But what are they going to do with Kana? I mean, what are they going to do with her? Actually, I mean, what are they doing? I mean, it's
Well,
good
look,
that she's coming back, but what are they going to do? Like they're going
but
to
here's the other thing to consider is it's December. We're 5 weeks from the Royal Rumble. They're not going to put a ton of work into anything until the Rumble because that's when the build for WrestleMania starts.
But this is what I
So,
heard before SummerSlam. This is what I heard before Survivor Series.
sure.
And now with Vince McMahon, he's never left. You can tell. He's never left.
I don't believe that.
I don't think he's ever went anywhere. He was there
look at all the people they brought back, all the hires they made.
Yeah,
They've done so many things.
I still believe he was there in the background somewhere, and I'm thinking he came back earlier than expected because some of these charges are not going to stick.
There's two more that just got filed.
Yeah, and he's not worried about them, and I think that he got bad advice from his lawyers when they said to stay out, and I think he's just going to come back and say, "I'm not giving you shit. I'm going to fight it, and I'm going to win," and then he's just going to come back, and I really don't want him back. But Triple H isn't doing much better, so I don't even know. Like, I don't know.
Here's the thing.
Triple H is not doing much.
But here's the thing, though. I think that he's doing more than Vince has done in the last 18 months. Look, he had to re-sign a lot of people, reestablish some things. Look, we said it on the watch along for Survivor Series that, look, this was better type wrestling than we had seen for years.
Yeah,
and look, they're getting Regal back. I don't think any of these things would have happened if Vince still had his hand on the product, because Vince doesn't like to admit when he's wrong. He never has.
I just think he's been somewhere lurking in the background, and the apple
They're all a traded company.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I mean, I think people are finding out that Triple H took NXT, which was a Dusty Rhodes idea, and yeah, he had a few good years there. But once Dusty left us, unfortunately, you saw what happened. It wasn't the same. So
but then they brought in Regal.
Yeah, and William Regal kind of held it together for a while, and
they experienced their best years under William.
It was just, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't have any hope right now for it. It's just Mondays. I may even start. I might stop watching again. They got a 1.4 million people watching. This is the lowest Raw ever that they just got.
That's Christmas. It's always like that.
I don't think it's Christmas.
I didn't watch it.
I don't even think it's Monday Night Football, because to tell you the truth, I don't even know who played Monday night. So it wasn't that.
Well, it was Arizona and New England.
Yeah,
it wasn't even a game worth watching.
I don't know. It could be 1.25 by WrestleMania if they don't do something. And now with this clown coming back, I don't know.
Here's the thing. But I don't think Vince comes back because it's a publicly traded company. They're beholden to their stockholders. If he came back, their stock would tank, and they'd be ripe for a takeover. And then somebody like Universal is going to swoop in and buy him out, and then Vince is out anyway. So
now let's go to Dre's point. AEW has 800 to 900,000, correct? But they're only 3 years old. The WWE has been around,
but they were at $1.5 million 6 months.
What's that?
They were at $1.5 million 6 months ago.
Yeah, I don't like either one right now. Raw sucks. Dynamite sucks. The other ones that AEW already suck. I haven't watched them. Dark and Rampage or whatever the hell it is. And now I may be just narrowed, and the NXT blows. I mean, I may be down to one show, and that's SmackDown. And I watch that on DVR. So I can fast forward all the bullshit out on one. So I may, from somebody who was watching 6-7 hours of wrestling a week, I may be down to an hour. Because all I'm really interested in is Bray Wyatt, Cody when he comes back, and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. That's it.
And LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everything that goes along with those guys I mentioned, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only things that are keeping me vested right now is,
I'm with you.
Like this Friday might be the start of the Sami Zayn thing, because he wants him to cut his hair so the Roman Reigns has a surprise for him. I think do you think this is where they beat the shit out of him? Finally?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
No, look, I don't disagree. I think some things are look.
It's terrible.
I think we're going to start to see the build.
I remember you saying this before Survivor Series.
But again, but you still have to have time to tell the story. And remember what I said, that they were going to have a slow build with Bray? We're still in the slow build, aren't we?
It's too slow. Now it's ridiculous.
Look, they brought in a Hollywood guy to tell the story.
It's kind of ridiculous. They need to get that moving too. I mean,
I think it's coming.
Right. I mean, yeah, they got to do something. Like
Look,
something has to happen.
I'm still optimistic. Do I think it's the greatest thing? Do I think it's the end all be all? No. Look, I didn't think they were going to have it fixed overnight. I didn't. I told you. I think we talked about it on the Survivor Series watch along that. I still think we're probably 4 to 5 months from seeing the real fruition of some of these things starting to be laid.
I don't think the plan is for Roman versus Sammy. I think that would be a squash match. I don't think anybody would want to see that.
That's part of the story.
Yeah, but I just think when they beat the shit out of him, it's just going to turn. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
Okay.
I don't look forward to a Roman Sammy match at all. I mean,
see, I do.
I don't know. That doesn't sound good.
Storytelling.
Doesn't sound good.
See, I think it's going to be good storytelling. I think Sammy tells a compelling story in the ring.
Story will be good. I mean, is there any way he's not going to win the belt from him? He's not going to beat him.
But I think everybody knows that. But I think it's the sheer fact that he's going to go in and tell a story, and it's going to further along the storyline, and it's going to set up. Here's how it's going to end. Sammy's going to get his ass kicked, right? The bloodline is going to put boots to him. KO is going to come out at the end of the show and make the save, and it's going to set up Mania, Usos versus KO and Sammy.
That's the plan, yeah. I just don't see the Sammy Roman Reigns playing into it. But they don't have anything else for Roman anyway right now, so they may as well let him beat the shit out of him real quick.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, look, I'll tell you what, though. The other thing I'm looking forward to, if the rumor that came out yesterday is true, Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. That match is going to be absolutely bananas.
Yeah, but Lesnar has to understand he's gonna get hit really hard in that match, and he doesn't like getting hit really hard.
No, he's gonna look. He's got to know this going in that he's gonna like. These are two guys that work stiff, and look, that's the nice part though is that if Brock hits Gunther stiff, Gunther can take it.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those few guys that can stand there and take it. So I'm looking forward to that story to see how they work that in and how they put that together. I really do. I'm very excited for that. There was some New Japan news this week where Machine Gun Anderson finally is confirmed for Wrestle Kingdom. Mm-hmm. That is going to be completely off the hook. But then the other news was Sasha Banks is out at WWE. She is completely done. Contract runs out at the end of the year, and she has a lucrative deal in place, agreed to with New Japan. Mm-hmm. The only thing they're waiting to see is if WWE puts the kibosh on it by freezing her contract back to May.
And they could.
And they can.
And they should, honestly. They should.
I
like Sasha Banks. Don't get me wrong. She's a great wrestler. But a lot of people don't have good storylines. That doesn't mean you just walk out of your company. I don't like the way they did that. It was the second time she did it. And to be honest, I don't give a shit if she comes back or not. Like,
I don't either.
I really could give a fuck less if she comes back because you walked out twice. Go to AEW so you could be on Rampage and Dark. Have a nice day.
You wrestle on Friday nights at 10.
I mean, you see what happened to Ruby Riott. She's very rarely on TV. You see what happened to Paige. I mean, it's just not a good situation for her either. So that's Sasha, and with New Japan and AEW having such a close-knit relationship, she could be on Ring of Honor or something like that at some point. I mean, but go ahead. I don't really need you back. I really don't. You walked out twice. Very unprofessional. Get lost. I don't care.
Well, look, here's what I want to see him do is look, they brought back Tegan Knox. They brought back Candice LeRae. They just brought in Kylie Ray. She debuted last night on Main Event.
Yeah, but listen to this. Candice LeRae had 6 matches. She won her first, lost her second, won, lost. She's 50-50 booking like everybody else there. It's not good. She one loss, one loss, one loss. She'll win next week if she wrestles on Raw. She'll win,
Maybe.
and then the
Look,
week after she'll lose. That's how it is. That's how
I'm
she does things. It's lazy.
I'm more optimistic about the women's division in the WWE than any other women's division.
That's not saying much though.
But there's more talent. I mean, there's just more raw
There's
talent.
talent.
Think about it
They're
when
50
Natty comes
looking
back.
everybody. I mean, look at Bailey. Bailey has like an 80% losing record right now since she came back.
Mm-hmm. But I think they're setting something up there.
Candice LeRae can wrestle, but she's 50-50 booked. I mean, what are you going to do? It's not a good situation.
No, but look, I think it's way better than what they're doing in AEW or, look, New Japan's women's division is so new. They have to get the belt off Ronda, though. That's the one thing they have to do.
They need to put the tag belts on Ronda and Shayna Baszler. I think that would be a sweet spot for them. Because right now, who are the women tag team champions? Oh, yeah. Damage which has been, when they came at SummerSlam, I thought it was going to be really good. They have done shit since. Even as champions, it's boring. It's really
it's not ideal. It hasn't been, but look, again, still way more optimistic about the possibilities of the women's division in WWE than in just about any other division. There's a lot more that can happen. I'll be honest. I would love to see Ronda and Shayna get like a Paul Heyman. I mean, maybe not. I mean, maybe not Paul because he's tied up with the bloodline, and I think that would be mixing. It's too much.
Yeah, we said a long time ago he should be with Ronda, but it never worked out. But
I would love someone. I would love someone like a Jim Cornette type who just needles the shit out of you when he tells a story.
Mm-hmm.
MVP would be good. I agree with that, Dre. I do. I think MVP would be good. They don't have anything for him right now. That might be kind of cool, actually.
Shit, the guy who used to be the manager for the Diamond Club in NXT, he would have been good with them. He has a big mouth.
Fuck that up.
Yeah. I mean,
and look, AEW is not using him right either. So, I think there's a lot of things that really aren't going well.
I'm not comparing anything to AEW. That's not the point of what I was saying about the women's division or anything else. I'm just talking strictly WWE. I don't know what they're doing. You're right. And Dre agrees with you. That's okay. Yes, they do have a better division. Then they have more possibilities to have a better division than AEW, no doubt. I'm not saying they don't. But they're not doing anything. They're 50-50 booking everything. Tell me they're not. I mean, they are. You can't.
But look, I think a lot of chips will start to fall into place. Like, look, they've started the tease with Alexa. I think that once that domino drops, I think there'll be some other things that'll start to happen. You're going to see, it's got to marinate a little bit longer.
So it's not going to bring all the magical shit back and have the doll like zap people and all that shit again. Because I hope not.
I don't think so. It was supposed to be a much darker version. It wasn't supposed to be quite as mystical. And I think Triple H is staying away from that. And they brought in that guy that writes horror movies to handle this whole angle. I don't think he's going to be down for that.
Yeah, I hope
not. Look, it's got to marinate a little bit longer. I really do think that they're really, and I agree with Dre here. They're treating it psychologically. I think they're playing mind games with not just us as the audience, but the other wrestlers because they don't know what's coming.
Yeah,
I know you won't figure it out.
But I just think it's starting to go. You're going to have to do something soon. Something.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it can't be every week LA Knight comes out. You flash the upside down Firefly, and you can't. You just can't do that every week. At some point, you got to say, all right, so this is happening, or that's happening, or this person's involved, that person's involved. Something. Give me something.
No, I agree. Look, I think a year from now, we're going to be talking about a much different landscape.
I hope so.
I think, AEW is going to be a fraction of the company it is today. I think that WWE is going to be in a much different storytelling landscape because you're going to have Regal back in there with a certain amount of control as a vice president. They're going to be they're really rebuilding NXT slowly to be a pipeline again. Look, it took time before. It's going to take time again. They have to undo all that shit, and they haven't even started to rebuild the writers' room. I mean, a lot of those guys are still the same guys that Vince brought in.
Yeah, but is Vince going to come in and just everything done? We're going back to.
I don't think he's coming back. I mean, I know you're convinced.
I don't think he's ever totally left. I think somewhere in the background he was lurking. I really do.
And I understand your point, and you and I have had this debate many times privately. I don't disagree that I can see why you feel that way. However, as a publicly traded company that has to answer to its shareholders, if this ever came out, it would completely undermine the board of directors, and the company would go under, and they'd be ripe for a takeover. They're not going to put themselves in that position.
Evidently, they don't care because all the reports are pointing to him coming back. So I don't know.
No, him saying he wants to come back. There's nothing saying that he is.
What Vince says he does, from my experience. I mean, you've seen it for years. He's not going to say it and then not come back. There's a reason it's out there.
But remember, he has controlling interest. Yes, he does. But there is a board of directors that handles the decisions. They appoint the CEO.
I would almost guarantee you, as we sit here, that by WrestleMania he's back.
I will take that bet. That's a beer bet. That is a beer bet.
I'll buy you a beer at Slate Farm, dude. I'll buy you whatever. I just have a funny feeling that he's going to be back. The reports would not be out there if it wasn't true. I hope I lose this one. I really do.
Me too, because Slate's got good beer. There's no way. There is no way. And I agree with Dre in the chat. There's no way Triple H, Stephanie, and Nick Khan are giving up power.
I don't think they ever really had it totally. They know who the boss is.
I don't know. Again, knowing how these publicly traded companies work, I just don't. If it was still privately owned, I'd agree with you wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. But because they are beholden to Wall Street and they have to open their books, and that's how all this stuff started. Everybody's looking for it now with them. There's no way they're going to put themselves in that kind of position. They're just not, especially when they almost essentially have their foot on AEW's throat. They are getting that close. AEW has lost half its viewership in 6 months since the Punk debacle. There's just no way they're going to put themselves in that position.
Yeah. I'm starting to think, and I forget who said this to me because I've been talking to so many people lately that they think, I forget who it was, but they said that whole CM Punk thing may have been a big work. And it went awry because he got hurt and Kenny Omega got hurt. But now that Omega's back and Punk maybe I'm starting to believe that. And if this is a work, it could be the biggest storyline in wrestling history if they do it right. And I don't know if they can do it right, being Tony Khan, but if they do it right and it is a work, that's going to be bad for WWE.
Here's the thing.
It is.
And I hear you.
Their cards right. They're starting to poke at CM Punk on live television now. So
I don't believe
would they do that if there was really legal things going on. Would they really be poking at him like that and him poking back at them? I'm starting to believe and I forget. I honestly really do forget who said this, but it made sense.
Look, I hear you, and I don't look. Anything is completely possible. It is, but here's the thing. I don't think Tony Khan is that clever. And look, I could be wrong, but he has not shown me that level of creativity in 3 years.
He hasn't shown me that either, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
It does. You're right.
Now picture, this would have happened a little faster if Punk didn't get hurt that night.
maybe.
and Omega didn't get hurt that night. But I mean, really, you got three guys, three EVPs that came back on television in their current roles, never lost a step, that went and had that night put a mark on the company. Why would they let those three back to poke fun at CM Punk? Because if you let them three back and they don't mention it, it's like, oh shit, that was real. They're not mentioning it. They're being the bigger guy. They're being EVPs. This is how they should act. The fact that they're going in the ring and they're poking the bear, so to speak, and he's poking back from outside the scenes, it's starting to seem more and more and more like this was a big work. And if it is, it's going to be one incredible story if they do it right.
Yeah,
Because
I will stand by.
He could come back. Picture this. He could come back and grab Daniel Bryan. He could come back and grab Miro. He could come back and grab Malachi Black. He could say, guys, we're all guys that he brought in and screwed us. And it could be in like another invasion story, kind of like the NWO, but it could be even bigger if they do it correctly, and if they do it soon, because you don't want to wait too long with Brian getting older and wanting to retire and things like that, and contracts are winding down little by little. I don't know, man. It could be one hell of a story.
The clock is ticking, and here's the deal: they got until the Royal Rumble. Because once the Royal Rumble happens and all those storylines kick in, like Cody's back, is The Rock coming? Is it, all these things that are possibilities that road to WrestleMania, AEW is going to be an afterthought. There's nothing they have that can compete.
The only saving grace for me is Cody came back with his AEW gimmick, AEW music under McMahon.
Yep.
So we know he's safe. That's my only saving grace, because he's one of my favorites. If they let him do that under McMahon, there may be a little hope, but that's the only hope I'm holding on to right now.
Well, look,
I can't wait till that music hits and he comes back, because that night's going to be unbelievable. And I believe you're going to be here watching it, and we're going to be live with Dre watching it.
Yep.
On the vault.
Yep.
So,
that's the plan. Literally, I'm going to have to wear one of those hazmat suits, because it's literally going to be like Randy's dad in South Park. When he comes all over the room,
just like
it's just literally like, that's Joe.
Just like
that was what Joe was like at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. When does that happen? Where so it happened with Jeff Hardy using the WWE Hardy music, and then it happened with Cody going back to WWE, where he used the same music. It doesn't happen very often, though. It doesn't happen very often where you let Carl Anderson go to New Japan, where Mercedes Vernado will be while you're wrestling. She's going to be there. You work for WWE. She may be still owned by WWE in one way or the other.
Whoa. Let's not say owned.
Well, you know what I mean. Under contract.
The rights to her contract are under WWE control.
Yes.
Owned is a whole different connotation.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Under contract, own the rights to the name.
Yep.
Things like that. So.
Okay. Look, I hear you.
So things could happen. I just hope is not fully there right now.
And I'm with you 100%.
And WWE could, they could add another 6-7 months on her contract if they really want to be, because they do own her name and her likeness.
They 100% do.
Yeah.
So look, we got about 6 minutes on our normal show. So have you felt that you have sufficiently covered what you're going to cover for the loose cannon, or do you need your time?
No, I think I've said enough. I'm done.
All right.
I don't want to say his name again.
All right. So that's fair. So with that,
let's look forward to that. Sorry.
No, I know. Well, look, I guess in that vein of something to look forward to, let's break a little news on Talking Nerdy tonight. So in 2 weeks, right? The 26th?
The 27th. Yep.
It's-
Today's the 13th.
Oh, you're right. 27th.
Yeah.
On the 27th, we will be having our first ever guest here on Talking Nerdy. So, Joe, let's tell everybody the story.
So this guy he's been on Raw a few times. Small parts on Raw, but hey, bigger than what we have. And he has his own podcast, and he does a lot of different things. We're still learning a lot about him, but he was down ICCC last year when I was there, and he actually took a stunner from What's Poppin' as a joke while they were doing their podcast and whatnot at the show. And so this guy, he's going to be pretty interesting to talk to because he has a lot of things going on, and professional wrestling is one of them. Flynn Hendricks will be on the show next week. It's going to be an honor to talk to him. I messaged him one day. I was like, hey, I told him the story. I said, you were down ICCC. We saw all that, and we saw you on Raw, playing cards with JBL and Baron Corbin. Would you like to be on our podcast and chat? And he, without hesitation, he was like, hell yeah, man, I'll do it. So Flynn Hendricks next 2 weeks from now on the 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern. It should be a cool show.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Our first guest. This is going to kind of be Joe driving the bus that night. Because Joe got this locked up for us, so I'll be there for support and fun. But look, Joe is going to be kind of steering the ship a bit that night, running through this. So we're excited. Don't know what we're going to talk about.
Do your homework. Do your homework on him. There's a website that he has. I forwarded it to you. Just check him out. Learn as much as you can about him, and I'm sure he'll want to answer whatever we throw at him. Man, seems like a really down to earth dude, and hey, this should be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to have him in. So it'll be really cool. So Joe, what do you want to plug in our shameless plug segment here at the end of the show?
Oh, well, let me see. So yeah, that in 2 weeks. This Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern on Well That Effing Figures, me and Colin will have OG Geek. Really cool guy. He's a toy hunter / he got a few different projects he's working on, and he's from the Miami, Florida area, and he'll be on the show as a guest this Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And then we will be on Christmas morning, as far as I know, so we still have to work that out, like as if anybody wants to come on with us or just pop in and say hi. We will be doing that on the 25th at 9 a.m. Eastern as well on Well That Effing Figures. And then after tonight, I think I have a few nights off from being on here. So I'm going to enjoy some time with my wife, hang out, and maybe go grab a beer somewhere. We'll see.
Sounds good. On this end, nothing really going in the immediate future. After the first of the year, my new True Crime Pod, 50 States of Evil, will drop its first couple of episodes. So keep an eye out for that. So that'll be cool. And then, as Joe mentioned earlier, we're going to have a Royal Rumble watch along party on Dre's channel. We're gonna send a link out for that after the next show. So we'll be promoting that pretty heavily. We want everybody to kind of hang out with us on a Saturday night. The last show that we did was a ton of fun. 3 hours of full-on wrestling debate. Both of us ganging up on Joe, which was really cool.
I don't back down.
Matt Cardona, I wish T3, I really do.
Actually,
no.
I do have a message out, and Chelsea Green did answer me one day, so I do have the feelers out for her and Matt Cardona. So we'll see if they answer me. She's answered me once, and actually she corrected me because I had a feeling that she was at a diner in Virginia, and she quickly corrected me on DM and said, no, we're in Orlando, Florida. So if she can answer that, she can look at that next message, and I would love to have those two on probably this show because it's more wrestling oriented. So
yeah, it would be a lot of fun.
so don't count that out. I may get a hold of Matt. We'll see what happens. I'm going to try my ass off, man.
Hey, it's all good. So with that, that's going to bring episode 5 to a close. Thank you again to everybody for tuning in. Again, hit like, hit subscribe. Come and check us out again in 2 weeks with our next big guest. But until then, I want to thank all of you again for hanging out and all the great conversation, and thank you for making this community and what we've been doing the last couple of months a lot of fun. So once again, I'm Scott. This is Joe. We've been talking nerdy. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. We can, if we don't talk to you, happy holidays to all of you.
Merry Christmas.